So, welcome to this, our 31st film in our series, Pattern of the Month. And the season is over, or maybe, if you want to think so, season just starts. Fly tying season just starts. It's been an okay fishing season, and I hope it's going to be a fantastic tying season. Today, I'm going to tie a version of my favorite fly, my best known fly. I got original here, the Pahtakorva, originating from Malta. This is a classic one with the drop form, the fat fly. And today I'm going to tie the version that is a samurai version. Means it's a lot slimmer, longer, fast swimmer. And I was going to start by taking this up for you and showing you a few things on this little thing that we made. And it's not only size that matters. I think another thing that really matters is the profile of the fly. And how do you decide what profile you want and what material to use to get certain profiles? And those of you that follow us and know our stuff knows that we have here, put them in front of me, we have 5 different kinds of cones. First we have the traditional cone, and I can by no way say that I'm part of developing this, because it was already there. It was me and Håkan that found that they will balance the tube in a good way. They have a quite small diameter, meaning they give a quite narrow profile. Then we have our half turbo, that I would say give a medium profile. It gives also a good balance where it's got a lot of weight underneath, and the cone is cut away on the top, on the top side, meaning that the current will move the material together, giving a slimmer profile than on the turbos. And to be honest with you, I fish most of all turbos. It's like a round disc, and I'm the guy behind this, and the whole idea is for the water to hit the cone, open up, create turbulence, and give a broad profile. And then we have our other 2 things. It's a little integrated tube and cone thing, TTTs in tungsten, very concentrated weight. And then we have the BTTs, the brass turbo tubes, and it sounds that they're heavy when they name say brass, but they are super thin and super light. Both of these will give the same profile as the turbo, but you can put a small cone in front. And this is like, together with our tubes, it's like the base thing in the Fitz tubing system, and how you can create small and big flies. You can decide to have a narrow or a very wide profile depending on what kind of cone you use, and also depending on size, of course. We have those for you. You want to have a look, but you have all the diameters, and you have what you can compare them, and you have the weights and everything, and you can see how you can create a balanced fly with different profiles. I think this is very important. And now, when season is over, we just passed our Baltic sea trout season, where we want to have a really broad profile, where the turbo is just perfect, even one size bigger than on another fly maybe. Okay, lots of talk, so let's see if we can tie this broad drop formed fly in a samurai version, meaning a slimmer fly. Today I'm going to use our medium fits and the extra small, and sometimes I tie these ones on the black one and sometimes on the orange one. Today I'm going to use the orange, and depending on what cone I have, I use different extra smalls. When it comes to samurais, I use a little bit longer plastic, and the reason is that I'm going to tie a fairly long fly, and I don't want to have the hook more than in the center of the fly. I don't want to have it further in front, so I need to move the hook a little bit backwards. I do that by choosing a little bit bigger, little bit longer tube, and I cut it at an angle first. And let's use these coming straight from the bags, and I combined it with an extra small fits, and I normally do this. I put this on first and then I put on the extra small, and then I just make sure that I slide in the medium so it's a bit inside. And as you can see, I also always cut this at an angle too, and the reason for that is that it's easier for me to put the cone on. Okay, so black thread today, 12/0, as I normally do, our SSS thread, and I start by putting some thread onto this part, like I always do, the part that I've been cutting, so I can let the medium hold the extra small. Here I can put quite a few turns of thread, so I'm sure that this really holds my tubing together. Again, starting with the slimmest material, and I do it with a Mirage tinsel. And as you can see, I don't work my thread under the Mirage, because I want this to be picking up the orange, and I don't want the thread to be seen under the Mirage. And when you tie, it's not seen that much, but when you fish them and they get wet, water comes in, the thread is going to be seen through. Do the fish care? No. Do I care? Yes, I care. Okay, so we're going to use hollow braid, and I'm picking a gold one here, and since I'm not gonna put a body hackle onto this, I only use one of them. And maybe you notice this little, I think it's genius, I can say that, because even it was my idea, but I didn't come up with it. But it's not a spool, it doesn't roll away on your table, you can put it down, and it's pretty good actually, and we also put a lot of material on there. Okay, putting on the Mirage, the braid. Make sure to cover up the thread, pull it hard, and overlap it a little bit while tying this to the front, and make sure to make it longer than the actual body should be. Longer than this part of the body should be, because then I can cover up with the dubbing. And I always do like this. Since I'm the guy that started with colored tubing, I think it's ridiculous not to have the tube being part of the pattern. The tube is the first part of the body, the mirage, and then comes the braid, and then dubbing. Tapering, so I get a nice body that will grow to the front. Pahtakorva bronze glitz. I use glitz on all my samurais since it's a very long fiber dubbing and you can brush it out a lot. And I put on a little bit and I back down and see where I have about where I want this part of the body to start. And doing it this way, I don't have to be afraid that I will have some thread to be seen or that can be picked up by a fish, the fish teeth. Even a little smolt or grills or anything can kill a fly when the thread is just bare. And this is a bit crazy because I overdo this. I put on more dubbing than it looks like it should have. And I've had people say when I do demonstrations that now I'm way out of line, but it should look overdressed. Because now I take our brush, call it the meanest brush on the market, and I brush out these fibers. And since I brush out so much, if it's tied the way that it looks good, when the dubbing is on, it's gonna look too slim now. Then I look on this and you can see how long fiber this is. I can either keep some of this, but these being this long will tangle in the hook. And I just taper and cut these so I get a fat body, very translucent, and also when I brush down so I get it pretty flat on the top. I don't want my wing to stand like this. I want the wing to be slim, especially on these flies that are meant to be fast swimmers. Okay, I'm gonna do a wing here with two different colors, and the difference with the hair I use on samurais is that it's straight. This was pretty soft. It doesn't really matter if it's soft or stiff. This fly is meant to be swimming sideways to the fish, and the material should be put in on the top. So I brush this through just to untangle the fibers, and I put it in. Make sure that this is now about, or at least half the length of my tubing, and I tie it in. And I normally take my thumbnail and press it down on the sides like this, but on a samurai I don't do that. I just secure it on top of it, of the tube, to make it narrow. Okay, cut this away. It's very simple tying, but in a way it's nice to have some flies that are fast to tie. Then we need some, here we go, we need some angel hair, and normally on a samurai I don't put that much angel hair, but just to show you there are no rules. In tying you do what you want to. I take a few angel hairs in the color Pahtakorva bronze, and I don't need to spread them as much as I do on a normal fly, since they should be tied in on top. Double back, just to get a little bit of sparkle inside this. Okay, and then I add a little black, and to be honest with you, normally I'm not a friend of goat hair, but on the samurai kind of fly it's perfect. You can just take a few, they're pretty stiff hair and they don't give much volume, but they are perfect to put on a samurai. Look at the length. Maybe I think that's a little too long there. Then I can just pull this front, make sure I don't get it out on the sides too much. Look at this, and I get this nice little Pahtakorva feel to the fly, and that's good. And I pull it up before I cut it off. You know, I love jungle cocks. I'm going to put a jungle cock onto this one too. But you also know that I love nature and always carry sightless and always tie with sightless. And you should remember that it's even illegal to go abroad with flies with original jungle cock if you don't carry your sightless. So I always have my sightless in my bag when I travel abroad fishing. Okay, so I use a quite small feather, and I tie him in fairly long. I had people say to me that it's easy to see if I tied the fly or someone else, because my jungle cock is further back, a little longer, formed the right way. I don't want to tie, so I cover up part of this beautiful feather, and I tie it in so it's almost as long as going back to where I have my tubing end and my hook start. Starting with the one on my side always. It's nicely curved to start with, and then I normally twist it, but now for you, can't move the fly in the vise. And I tie it in, and it's too high up, and I move it. I can probably move it by just pulling it down with my fingernails like that. Does it look good? It looks good. And you can now also see that when I tie on samurais, there's another thing that's quite different, and that is that normally I tie everything on top of the medium and just one turn of hackle here, but now it's going to be one of these flies with a big head if I don't do what I really like to do on the samurais, and it's part of the design, and that is to put some dubbing also in front of the wing. And again, you have to be a bit brutal. If you shy tire, you will have a fly that will look too skinny. And I back down over where I tied in my jungle cocks, and I build this up. And of course you want to have it super skinny. You can skip these. But I like to have my samurais, even if the drop shape is narrower, I like it drop shaped. And instead of using body hackles and soft fur, I do this with dubbing. And I hold it before I brush this out. And you can see, I mean, this brush it just grabs those fibers. And I brush this out to get a bit of volume, bit of sparkle. If I have a one or two that's not going where I want, I can take them away. But this also makes a very translucent fly. It's a little bit of sparkle, but it's quite translucent and quite narrow. So if you just take up the Pahtakorva, the original one, and you look on how different they are, you can see how broad I tie this in and how narrow I tie this in. You can look at this one that I tied before. You can see the wing is tied in right on the top to make a very slim profile. Okay, so on a Pahtakorva I use silver badger, dyed orange. Fantastic feathers. I love those feathers. I love all badgers. I think they are super nice. But you tell me, I haven't found good silver badger soft hackles. So what I do, I use these skins, and I see if I have something, and I pick these and I use the grizzly one that is so much softer than original hackle. And I trim this away, always tie them in the top, and I don't need to be so shy here with how many turns. I will do maybe 3 or 4 turns of hackle on this, creating that triangle, hold back the fibers. It's an easy way of just attaching your little feather. And then I double, and it's not that important to double on the soft hackle because they are so soft. So no matter if you double them or not, the current will just press these down, but they will look nicer while dry if you just do this. And I think it's easiest to do this with my fingers without the plier on feathers that are soft like this. And again, you have to think on, let's take this one, I can show you. You have to think about how things will look when it's dry and when it's wet. You see how bulky this looks. But when I wetten these, a lot of these will disappear, and the volume will be much less if you look at the difference on the sides here. That's why I put on quite a bit of material here on this one, quite a bit of hackle to make it get some drop form and some motion. The more they look like they will swim away, the better they are, I think. Then I take, then we take one of these guys. It's and this is nice, I think. It's a pheasant body feather, pheasant body rump feathers, and here we go. They can be a little brittle, and these are actually very, take away a little more, very heron-like, but much more durable. Those of you who fish heron flies know that when you fish them a bit, most of the fibers are broken, and especially fishing for sea trout with nasty teeth, they will destroy the flies, but these are more durable. Using a little plier, and I'm not gonna say it's gonna be here before next film. I've been saying so many things about these tools, but one day they're here. Good thing with this, I showed you before, is that it's heavy. And here, since this is not as soft, I double. And I tie this in to get the fibers pointing the right direction. And I just put on as many turns as I prefer. And if I come down half the hackle, the good thing with our plier is that you can let go and the tension is still there. Let's do one more here. Like that. And then I just tie this in underneath. Keep the tension in the thread while securing close and cut off the piece here. Okay, so what are we on here now? Does it look good? I think it looks pretty good actually. We're on a fly that is maybe what? 18 centimeters or so? Come on. On an 18 centimeter fly, I would for sure use our biggest, which is maybe crazy, but it's called small turbo. But on a Samurai, where I want the profile to be slimmer, I go down one size. So I will jump into my organizer. Love my organizers, and I know from feedback we get that a lot of you think it's super nice to have order on the cones, otherwise there are cones all over the place. Extra small copper color, put it on, and you can see how that I cut the tubing makes it a little easier to put this on. And again, when it comes to cones, it's important that it's tight. If it's not tight here, the cone will start moving a little bit on the fly every cast, and it will break any tubing. What we've done is that we put the very, very flexible tubing so you can press down the cone and you can make it tight so it will stay there. A little bit of glue, and now I have a new bottle. Last film I did not, and it was hell to tie with. Little bit of glue, take the thread, move in the glue close to the body so I don't get glue on all these nice fibers. I can hold it a sec and I tie it off and I pull down the cone. It's easier to do when you take the fly out of the vise. Take this out, hold back the fibers, press down the cone so it's tight down to the hackles. And also a very good thing with the cone, with the turbo, is that it will cover up all the thread. So I don't need to glue everything 4 or 5 times to make it durable. This will protect the thread, which is the weakest part of my fly. I use support always when I cut. Put the scissor on my fingers, do this about 3 mil. Bigger cone, the more plastic I keep. Black lighter, black fly, partly black anyway. And I hold it up like this and I just melt it down. And don't be too fast on this. You can take a little bit at a time like this. So the plastic will form over the cone and you will have a really nice hole. And Pahtakorva Samurai. Did it turn out good? I think it turned out good. Now I can turn this in the vise so you can see how the wing is put right on the top of the fly here. When this is going to be fished like this, the hackles will form a little drop, but the long wing will be super thin, and I call them fast swimmers. They're meant to be fished really, really fast. Big difference from the classic way of tying. I keep both in my boxes and fish both. I think I need both. And again, profile, size and profile is important. If you want to have a box full of all the different styles of flies that will be best for different conditions. Okay, ready. So you want to tie it. Again, we have our kit, pattern of the month. Thank you all for subscribing. You can subscribe or you can buy them one-on-one. And we have, for those of you who don't tie or you just want to fish those flies, you can buy the packs like that. And also you have our new little sticker. I think the new stickers are much cooler. You get a nice little collection of stickers if you like it. You can stick your favorite fly to your car or wherever you want to do it. Okay, hope you enjoyed the tying, and I have one more trip to go, then I'm done for the season. And we are now filling up our YouTube with films, and there will be quite a few films coming up the next couple of months. And not only the pattern of the month films, but from our fishing trips. Hope you enjoyed it, and I know many of you caught fish on the Pahtakorva, and maybe a few more of you will catch fish even on the Pahtakorva Samurai. So stay strong, tie on, and thank you for watching.